Donald Trump won the race fair and square, I think.
But if he pardons them, that sort of implies that they did something wrong.
Your wife, Hilary Clinton, she apparently is on Kash Patel's list.
They got a problem with her because first, she didn't do anything wrong. I guess if Kash Patel is determined to make one up, he could do it.
So former President Bill Clinton is promoting his book, and he stops by The View to deliver a couple of delusional takes that we definitely want to fact check ourselves and give you guys the real story. But of course, he has to start with the idea that the 2016 election was stolen away from Hillary Clinton.
Donald Trump will be returning to the White House, unburdened by the pressure of re-election, with sweeping immunity granted to him, I believe, by the Supreme Court, and an alleged enemies list we're hearing. Do you think it would be wise of President Biden to preemptively pardon any potential targets? What about your wife, Hilary Clinton? She apparently is on Kash Patel's list.
For what?
Yeah.
Well, they got a problem with her because first, she didn't do anything wrong.
Of course.
Second, she followed the rules exactly as they were written. Mm-hmm. Third, Trump's State Department found, they remember how the emails were such a big issue in 2016? Yeah. Trump's State Department found that Hillary sent and received exactly 0 classified emails on her personal device. It was a made-up, phony story.
Yeah.
This is what I really want to say about this. All right, Hillary Clinton is absolutely guilty, okay? There's no question. And if you don't believe she's guilty, she's at least guilty of being incompetent as the Secretary of State. We know that. As it pertains to those emails, I mean, guys, you know, they think that we're that stupid, okay? But we're not, all right? And my only question to the former president, are you going to act that stupid with Donald Trump's cases? Will you say that he's innocent as well? What about yourself and what you did in the Oval Office? What about that? So he doesn't have any leg to stand on when it comes to defending his wife, who we know is super corrupt.
So, you know, I guess if Kash Patel is determined to make one up, he could do it. But I think if President Biden wanted to talk to me about that, I would talk to him about it. But I don't think I should be giving public advice on the pardon power. I think it's a very personal thing, but it is. I hope he won't do that.
Yeah.
Trump, you know, most of us get out of this world ahead of where we'd get if all we got was simple justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's normally a fool's errand to spend a lot of time trying to get even.
Yeah, agreed.
But if he pardons them, that sort of implies that they did something wrong, which they didn't.
Well, I have a question actually about...
Now, Bill Clinton has a knack for saying things that actually are true criticisms of the party he represents. He just stated that trying to get even is fool's gold. So as an example, that's what the Democratic Party has been doing for over the last 4 years. They've been trying to get even with Trump. They didn't like that he came in and challenged the establishment. They didn't like that they couldn't control him. They didn't like how blunt and direct he was, and he wasn't ever willing to back down. So as a result, what do? They try to prosecute him. They try to smear his name. Remember, the coverage of Donald Trump historically in the legacy media has been at least 90% of negative coverage. That's why all their ratings have tanked. Now, here's another delusional statement from the former president, where he believes that the election in 2016 was actually stolen from Hillary Clinton.
In the book, you write that after your wife Hillary's loss, when she lost to Donald Trump in 2016, you had outbursts of rage and you didn't sleep for years, 2 years. Me either. I still can't sleep.
So you should call Joy.
Just call me up. So how are you sleeping now? What's going to happen now?
I'm sleeping better now because I did everything I could.
Yeah.
For the alternative.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I also think it's important for everybody to just take a deep breath and say, unlike in 2016, there was no outside influence like the FBI director interfering at the last moment in violation of 70 years of policy. And it changed 5% overnight. In my lifetime, I've never seen a poll change 5% overnight. So anybody that says that he didn't give Trump the election, you know, needs a
Think about it again.
Yeah. But this time, Donald Trump won the race fair and square, I think.
What do you mean you think?
Well, I mean, I'm not like him. I have to have proof, some evidence to make a charge. So as far as I know, he won it.
So it sounds like the former president is just as bitter as his wife as it pertains to the 2016 election. The bottom line is this: Hilary Clinton was not an actual candidate that people truly related to. She's as establishment as you can get. That was definitely the beginnings of the populist movement finally coming out and voting for a populist candidate. That's exactly what happened. Now, will they come out and speak this way? No, they won't, because they have to maintain this political narrative. You know what actually gets them so frustrated? It's not really Trump himself. It's that there are a lot of Americans out there, at least half the country, who actually support Trump. And now CNN has just dropped a poll confirming that most Americans, they have confidence in Trump's ability to handle the most important issues in this country. Watch.
A majority of Americans, 54%, say they expect him to do a good job as president. And we asked specifically, do you have confidence in all of these areas about how Trump will perform and his ability to handle it? And once again, as we saw throughout the campaign, the economy is issue number one of his strength. 65%, 2/3 of Americans in this poll say they have some or a lot of confidence in Trump's ability to manage and handle the economy as president. And you see Russia, Ukraine followed there, then immigration, and his leadership skills, his what he intends to use his power for, whether that'll be responsibly not, a bit lower. But again, all of this is majority support. So that is where things stand right now.
Now, earlier you heard Bill Clinton make the claim that Kash Patel has an enemy list, and when he gets into office and he is confirmed, he's going to go after these people, and one of them was Hilary Clinton. Well, here's Jason Miller, who's the senior advisor of the Trump transition team, responding to that claim. Watch.
Well, Kash Patel's going to go in and uphold justice the same to everybody. It doesn't matter what your political affiliation is, if you've supported President Trump, if you've opposed President Trump. And that's why I think people have been so upset by the fact that there has been this politics dynamics that have been going on with our justice system over the past few years. And quite frankly, people are tired of it. Kash Patel is going to go in and he's going to get rid of anyone who thinks that they're going to use political ideology to go and attack people, regardless of what side of the aisle.
When you say he's going to get rid of them, what do you mean? How's he going to do that? Bring us inside.
Well, the upper ranks of leadership within the FBI should be law enforcement officers who are strictly focused on upholding the law and protecting the American public. And as we've seen in years past, whether it be with the Russia nonsense, or even some of the things such as the illegal and unconstitutional raid on Mar-a-Lago, politics has become infused with too many at the top. And I'll tell you, Pamela, I've even heard from folks inside the building. So yes, FBI, the call is coming from inside the building. See, there are so many good FBI agents that are working at the FBI, so many people who are dedicated about keeping the American public safe, and they're sick and tired of what they've seen at the upper ranks of the FBI, of this politics influencing decisions.
So he's speaking towards something I definitely can relate to. Having served 13 years in the military, you learn one clear lesson: the higher you go up in the rank structure, the more political it becomes. An example of that could be, hey, this commanding officer over here sexually assaulted one of his subordinates. Instead of kicking him out of the military and busting him down, we're just going to move him to another unit. That, ladies and gentlemen, is politics. And so there's no question that Kash Patel should be the next FBI director to get rid of how politicized it has become. Now, since we're on that topic of the military and how crazy it has also become in and of itself, here is Pete Hegseth, who's been nominated as the Secretary of Defense, updating the media on what his mood is today.
What do you hope to talk to Senator Collins about today? What do you hope to talk to Senator Collins about today?
This is how we're feeling today, right here. Feeling great.
Do you feel confident that you're going to get to a confirmation process, get to the hearing?
Yeah, I just love that type of attitude from Pete Hegseth. And again, I support him for Secretary of Defense, full stop. However, he also represents why a Bill Clinton, why the women on The View, and why the legacy media doesn't like conservatives. I mean, you would be hard pressed to find a conservative on a ABC, a CBS, an NBC, an MSNBC, which leads me to this next clip. So when they see that we're never going to back down, they go into doing what? Character assassination. And that's exactly what Morning Joe did this morning as it pertains to Pete Hegseth.
We're doing this day in and day out. Let's not get numb
to the reality here. The person we're looking at right now is woefully ill-equipped to be Secretary of Defense, does not have any managerial experience that would allow him to run the largest, the most complex, the most important, critically important bureaucracy in the United States of America or the world. As the Middle East dissolves and melts down, as a war in Eastern Europe threatens to move towards a nuclear confrontation or a world war. That's where we start, and then you start stacking up one allegation after another.
So in regards to the managerial experience, Joe Scarborough, you are absolutely outside your mind. You're talking about a infantry platoon leader who deployed to Afghanistan not once, but twice, and led his platoon in combat. So you tell me how he doesn't have managerial experience, right? In fact, I would argue that Pete Hegseth probably has more experience for that position than other people would like to admit. And what I mean by that, we need someone at the top who can relate to people at the bottom. That's the one thing that every military veteran can definitely relate to. And it's not just the media playing games with Pete Hegseth. It's also these Republican senators who behind closed doors are walking a tightrope. And if they're truly going to want to challenge these nominations, well, they might have another thing coming. Here's Michael Singleton from CNN touching on this.
You know, this is interesting to me, guys, because I had long wondered how long before other outside Republican groups would say, all right, how many meetings do you need to have? You've had one, you've had two, you've had three, you've had four, and then you still say, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, well, I need another meeting. At some point, I can't use the phrase I really want to use on a family appropriate show, but at some point, you got to get up and make a decision, and you guys know what I really want to say. And so the Heritage and other groups are saying, enough with the meetings. Come out and say you're going to either support this guy or not support him, so at least the president-elect has an opportunity to throw out someone else's name. But if you're not going to do that, then allow him to go before committee to defend himself and have a vote before the full Senate.
So the real question is this, and I want you guys to answer it in the comments section below. Do you believe there's any truth to what the media continues to say about Pete Hegseth, about a Tulsi Gabbard, or about Kash Patel? And if it is somewhat true, do you believe it actually matters in the end? Let me know what your thoughts are about that in the comments section below. Now, I also want to get your guys' thoughts about this as well. Last night, the White House announced $50 billion in funding for Ukraine. Yes, you heard me correctly. And it's almost as if they're celebrating this achievement to send that amount of money overseas. And meanwhile, we know we still have hurricane survivors and victims who are still trying to recover. So we did a video on that. If you guys want to check it out, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.